Okay, welcome everyone. This event is being recorded and live streamed on ArchAgenda's YouTube channel. My name is Daniela Gyurtovich, and I am the curator of ArchAgenda Debates series. And today we're going to have presentations by DesignMorphine. ArchAgenda is a program partner of the Chicago Architecture Biennial. And today it's a great pleasure and honor to welcome Pavlina, VARDOULAKI, Pryor, and TSVETELINA Georgieva. This event continues the series of free online events that occurred every Saturday from October 16th. And you can find all those videos on the YouTube ArchAgenda channel. The events for the Chicago Architecture Biennial end on December 18th, and we may have one more event. The theme of this biennial is the available city. And this series, ArchAgenda Debates, aim to spark lively and candid exchange on 21st century architectural and societal paradigm shifts fueled by globally distributed cloud communities, emerging economies, new governance models, novel design agendas, and innovative technologies that transform social synergies, entrepreneurial opportunities, and ultimately the process of building cities. The fluidity, mobility, and dynamism of 21st century network society is transforming the way we design cities. Current societal paradigm shifts are marked by an intensification in systems of communication, complexity, coevolution, responsiveness, and freedom. Urban design innovation is accelerated by convergence of natural and artificial intelligence, the emergence of distributed peer-to-peer computational networks, such as blockchain, advancements in telecommunications, the explosion in real-time decision systems using big data and AI, and the movement towards knowledge economies anchored by research and development. In this context, the world can be thought of as a laboratory. Broadly, this series of events aim to form a gradient of topics in computationally empowered architecture, urbanism, and design, ranging from virtual to mixed reality and fully functional physical communities. With this framework in mind, in this event, Pavlina and TSVETELINA will talk about DesignMorphine, computational design, and their new Master of Science program in computational and advanced design. Also with us today are 4 of their students who will present 2 projects from DesignMorphine Master's Degree Program. Nadezhda Kutyreva, Pedro Venegas Rodríguez, Marko Alab Samwel Adviento, and Mohammad Qamar, and I apologize if I messed up those names a little bit. So I'm going to begin by introducing Pavlina and TSVETELINA. Pavlina VARDOULAKI Pryor strives to accelerate design amalgamation through computational and advanced design. She's the director of the 3D footwear design team at Nike's Catalyst Dimension, a team focused on digital and cultural innovation applied at ISPA, Co-Create, and Nike by You footwear products. She's also the co-founder and chief creative officer of DesignMorphine and is responsible for co-leading its global vision. DesignMorphine is an international educational institution that acts as a catalyst of progress, and its mission is to propagate innovative design practices and allow all fields of design to blend. As an educator, she's a creative director of DesignMorphine's Master of Science in Computational and Advanced Design, and has taught collaborations of the organization at MIT and Harvard GSD, and was appointed as the visiting professor in NYIT. She's currently pursuing her PhD studies on parametric and multidisciplinary design through the lens of education and practice. An alumnus of the Architectural Association's Design Research Laboratory, AADRL, she started her educational career and explored self-assembly system Hypercell, which was published and exhibited worldwide. Her architectural design expertise is in large-scale architectural developments ranging from master plans to mixed use and public buildings as the associate at La Guarda.Lo Architects, New York. She also worked at Foster and Partners on residential and mixed-use high-rise buildings in Abu Dhabi. Throughout her design journey, Pavlina has participated in and consulted a number of diverse design collaborations. The Hackmasters Dubai Airport and Customs of the Future Hackathons, and Ferrari Design and AADRL Vehicle of the Future Design Collaborations, the Zaha Hadid Studio Workshop for Parametric Urbanism, and Louis Vuitton and AA Retail Design Collaboration. And I'm going to introduce Svetelina as well. Svetelina Georgieva is the co-founder and CEO of DesignMorphine and is co-responsible for the company's growth worldwide popularization and achieved positions in 82 countries, and the development of the company's short and long-term strategy. She is communicating on behalf of the company with government entities and the public. She is currently a PhD candidate working on the topic of parametric design, education, business, and development. During her PhD studies, she's seeking to offer a unique and provocative perspective of an architect while improving her skills in leadership and management. She has 8+ years of experience as an architect. So welcome, guys.
Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you so much.
Excited to be here today with the students to share our journey and what we're been up to.
Thank you so much, Daniela, and thanks for the invitation. It is so great to be here.
We'll start with an introduction of DesignMorphine, and we'll continue more talking about the master's degree that we just launched this year.
Yes, that's right. So DesignMorphine's journey started back in 2014. When we organized and taught the first advanced design workshops in Sofia, Bulgaria, and from there on we couldn't stop. Through this creative platform, we are able to connect with people, empower them, and fuel their passion for collaborative design. We started from a humble shop, model shop in Sofia, but quickly expanded and taught thousands of specialists from all over the world. And we are happy that we nurtured their progress in some of the biggest companies in the world. DesignMorphine is a catalyst for collaboration with people who we admire deeply as individuals and professionals. The team is comprised of 39 talented architects and designers and collaborating organizations, which gives us a multidisciplinary approach to design and its education across a gradient of applications. We are dedicated to academia, but we are also all professionals who practice our craft daily. Through DesignMorphine, we come together and innovate through creative cross-pollination. This allows for versatility within the team, but we are also in a constant state of learning and bettering ourselves. Now we are going to show some statistics. We taught students from more than 82 countries. We traveled in so many cities around the globe. We created projects on many different topics like robotics, coding, fabrication, and many, many more. We use multiple software and hardware, and many of them we apply for topics they weren't even meant for. Like, for example, Rhino was initially created for the marine industry, but now most of the architectural practices are using it. Our workshops surpass the teaching of technical skills and show a new way of thinking about design. It's an international experience of meeting new people with similar interests. While learning new workflows, every participant develops a project. They apply the new skills and tackle problems while having the constant support of their tutors. We always challenge the students to give their best, and in the end, they leave with a project which is ready for their portfolio. Many have been accepted to universities like Harvard, the Architectural Association, SciArch. Others have been accepted to work in companies like Zaha Hadid Architects, Foster and Partners, BIC, and many other reputable offices. So next are some examples of our students' work on multiple scales and topics, like you are seeing now some jewelry, architecture, installations. One thing always connects them, and this is the experimentation and unique workflows. We are heavily invested not only in the virtual world, but also in fabrication. Here you may see some work with parametrically driven patterns printed on fabric, which became a lamp or a fashion design piece, and some 3D printed furniture with robotic arms. We also collaborate on product design with our partners, and one example that we are showing now today is with the amazing Arturo Tedeschi. We created the suspension lamp called Horizon, which encapsulates a free-form 3D printed shape within a handmade glass shelter manufactured in Murano, Italy. It was exhibited during Venice Glass Week 2020. We believe that the industry won't only evolve through a constant technological upgrade of products, but reconsider values such as uniqueness, handmaking, and even imperfection. Horizon is a hybrid object between evolution and tradition. I'll continue with introducing you the concept of computational design, which is the application of computational strategies to the design process, and it aims to enhance that process by encoding design decisions using computer language. Isn't using a computer for design computational design? That's the question. In the beginning of the profession of architecture and design, as we know it today, designers drew by hand, and each stroke of the pencil was informed by the need of documenting a design. As technology advanced, drafting boards and pencils were replaced by computers. However, the process of design and documentation stayed exactly the same, only the medium changed. This is where we arrive at CAD, computer-aided design, which essentially copies existing physical actions into the digital. The computer is treated as an aid rather than a contributing part of the design process. The tools of the past are reinterpreted in their computer counterpart. Initially, computers were used for their memory and saving the process. One could easily delete, save, copy, without having to start over again. And of course, the data in computers saved space and didn't degrade over time like paper. Over the years, computers started getting faster, and these speeds in processing capabilities gave birth to computational design, which is a new way of thinking, where we could program the computer to actually perform tasks for us rather than having to do every step manually. So this is a chart of the most used CAD commands and which of those are most used together. If we do all these commands and understand the repetitive processes and patterns of how we use them, how can we optimize the design workflow in a way that lets the power of a computer truly help in the design process? And now we arrive at the beginning of computational design thinking, which is defining the parameters and rules of design, but having the computer's processor execute it. Design becomes a series of operations that can be adapted to multiple situations and conditions. So computational design is most of all a mindset, and now we are going to see a great example of that, which is Antoni's Gaudi's Sagrada Familia. He designed it in 1883. It's an ecosystem of geometry that emerged by a set of rules led by the structural stability of the stone. The geometric language was documented in manuals that were destroyed during the Spanish Civil War. Today, computational design is key to restoring the original design intent, since the building logic is encoded into the already existing structure of the church. Another example, and it's a contemporary extreme case, is the Sports Hall of Fame by Trajan Architects, where a computational structure system was defined and was able to adjust itself to changes in the architectural form. The rules of the system created the structure, the architect creates the form, and sometimes the computation will restrict the form so that the structure can work. This helps prevent the designer from making mistakes, as well as frees up much time from mundane tasks and lets the architect think more about the big picture gestures. Another case like this, there are many parameters defined in the logic of a tower design based on factors like floor area, apartment allocations, views, etc. Another example, which is currently a work in progress. It's a combination of curve matching and furniture planning with machine learning here. There are many parameters defined in the logic of a floor plan based on room type, size, and proportion. The Hafidit architects and strategists developed a custom workflow with repeated iterations between design and structural analysis. It also utilizes material-saving parameters developed by Altair Technologies. And here we may see the parameters that they developed in order to allow them to visualize how the chair would look like in different colors, with more perforations, and etc. etc.
As you can see from what TSVETELINA just showed, computational design enables you to automate repetitive tasks, lets you prove your design decisions with real data, and forces you to think in design in terms of chunks of processes that can be used in many conditions. And the best part for me, it's computational design is actually multidisciplinary and it is multiscalar. And because of that, it allows for this mindset to be applied across all industries of design. And this is what is happening actually today. And we see such a shift in the mindset. And even if we take it a step further into the fusion of multiple software and hardware and use them in an unconventional way, that's where you find the most breathtaking and really truly innovative design ideas. So I'm excited today to share with you the DesignMorphine's newest endeavor. We just started actually our first year of our fully accredited Master of Science degree in Computational and Advanced Design. And the program is specifically crafted to be online. We aim to prepare the new generation of designers to thrive and drive progress and change in the design community, especially now where the fabric of all design industries reality is changing by the rapidly emerging new technologies. Computational and advanced design is no longer just a profession of the future for all creative actually, but it's actually relevant right now. The mindset, techniques, and software taught in the program can be applied to any creative field, as you saw even in the examples. And this is vital because it allows for great versatility and diverse professional experiences. The program is fully accredited and worldwide recognized by the University of Architectural, Civil Engineering and Geodesy, the university that Svetelina and I studied in Sofia, Bulgaria. And it's organized in a unique way based on 5 leading design chapters and 5 supporting technical and theoretical labs that span over the course of 9 months. And during the leading design chapter, space students respond to a scenario and start with the generation of the enhanced human body. They then progress into developing more complex architectural entities and build global systems and networks, reaching the state of cosmogony. While through the supporting technical labs, they master a variety of software, parametric and generative design, as well as get to utilize virtual reality. They get to visualize their concepts through the media lab, learn how to work with prototyping machines and swarm robotics. And furthermore, students are taught how to formulate a concrete, expandable theoretical frame to support their vision in the theoretical lab. There is no right or wrong answer really or approach, but they're called to envision their own scenario and defend it, its relevance and value. So I'm just going to breeze through the chapters that I just mentioned. The chapter 1 is like what we're looking into prosthesis. It's about the human body. So the scale that we're operating, it's around that. So everything that humanity's designed so far is based on the way our bodies are designed. The prime focus here revolves around the technological and cultural prosthesis. And since technology can and will eventually shape not only our minds, but our body too, we're looking into how this, what are the possibilities that this is going to happen in the future. So we start with a scenario-based approach and envision this fundamental element, the human body, and the technological future this body will operate within. We are looking into cyborgs, half human, half machines, exoskeletons, augmented beings, and the focus software-wise in this chapter, it's about polygonal modeling, Maya and ZBrush, and which are heavily used in the animation industry, but we can also see them in the architectural world, in offices like Zahadit Architects or MAD Architects that are using it. So moving into the next chapter, the scale gets bigger. We're talking about the core passo. A core passo is actually the second stage of the program, is revolving around the living conditions and spaces that this body that we build requires. We work with interior and exterior challenges and have to answer questions about ephemerality, mobility, adaptability, transformability. And this chapter is is focused on component-based design and user interaction systems. And we're moving from polygons and towards NURBS and the interoperability between Maya and Rhino and Grasshopper. Again, trying to build this multidisciplinary mindset, but also how to handle these very complex geometries that the students are envisioning. In chapter 3, amalgamation, the objective is to conceive and explore the way these living cells developed and create communities and clusters. So the very question is what constitutes a community of people. We also have to examine how external conditions impact this shape and these living and public spaces. And we're looking at generation and optimization of rules-based structures. Here we're moving more towards parametric and generative design with Grasshopper. And also in the next chapter, which is chapter 4, kinesis, we are focusing on the vehicle and expanding to various complex systems weaved together by transportation and mobility systems. So we're looking at organic growth-based systems, underground, vertical, horizontal, really taking different approaches on what actually kinesis means within a cityscape. We're looking into particle simulations and flows with Maya, Houdini, and After Effects. In the last chapter is chapter 5, Cosmogony. all previous stages lead up to this stage in which we develop all assets in this largest scale of our envisioned worlds, and this is the city. And by zooming out, these new challenges arise in terms of increasing complexity and encoding behavior. It's what our primary focus is. We're looking into C#, agent-based growth systems with Grasshopper, and really going into the higher complexity of the system. The supporting labs, they're a lot of fun for the students. The theory lab is absolutely essential vertebra of all leading chapters, and that's where the students are envisioning their own scenarios. They don't follow anyone's vision, they follow only their own vision and their own ideas and what they're excited about, and this is one of the things that actually makes this program unique. Because it actually reflects truly the students' passion. And we're focused again into evolving these theoretical frameworks across different axes, like symbiotical relationships of new bodies and AI, emergent complexities of the new cosmos, and ways to collaborate and utilize patterns and behavior of the natural environment. There is again no pre-given solution, no predetermined truth. It's a lab, it's a space for exploration, and some of the access to theory development are given, but some foundation just to build upon. But then the exploration and the structure is how it all ties together, and depends on the students. So yeah, we also work with plethora of diversified materials like books, movies, anime, games, TV shows, being relevant to actually anything that the students are inspired by truly. In the prototype lab, it's where the main focus is about prototyping and looking into laser cutting, 3D printing, CNC milling, and vacuum forming. And the students are gaining understanding of how these machines operate and how to prepare digital models and files and how to optimize the fabrication processes, and also learn how to utilize visualization software like Shapediver and other tools that outline novel production workflows. And students are submitting a visualized version, and we will be 3D printing in the university there some of the models. So we're looking very much towards the prototyping lab that's actually, it's going to happen next week. We have the media lab, where again, it's about visualization and graphics and learning how to post-produce stunning CGI images. We're working with V-Ray, and this is we're learning how to render in Rhino, Grasshopper, and Maya, and then working with Photoshop to visualize. But we're looking very much into you know, photography and what consists of depth and color and light. So it's a very cinematic approach. The Robotics Lab, this is another fun lab that we're very much looking forward to. And it's especially important to understand the kinesis part actually of the masters through it, because we'll be building a multifunctional small robots, what we call swarm robots too, and they're going to be following specific conditions and rules. So we'll be working with different sensors of sound and luminosity and movement, and dealing with aspects such as material properties, geometry, structure, joinery, assembly, and also programming sequence. And last but not least is our virtual reality lab, and this is actually, we'll be looking at how to shape digital projects into an experience. And this lab, students will learn how to utilize Unreal Engine and turn it in their projects into interactive VR models, and make exciting animations and demonstrate their concepts and ideas through it. Something that is very exciting and also very relevant with all metaverse and everything that is going on in our reality right now. And this is actually the first year, as we mentioned, of the program. We have the privilege to be working with with 38 students, which are incredible designers and architects from all corners of the world. And what drives the distinctiveness of the program, it's actually lying in some key elements, and that's because it allows for great flexibility, because it is online. It's crafted to be experienced as an online educational experience. We do have a space in Sofia, Bulgaria, and we hope that soon we'll be able also to meet and work together there. The other part it is that it requires no additional expenses because it doesn't demand relocation or like any other because it is a virtual experience. It is focused on accelerated pedagogical methods that allow students to absorb information and complex information efficiently. We're going what actually DesignMorphine thrives in. It's teaching you software to people with zero experience. And that's where we're looking into more than 15 different softwares and being taught like in this program successfully. This is something that it's quite unique. And also experiencing multiple different industries, and that has to do with fashion, industrial design, interior architecture, urbanism, vehicle design, animation, all through the lens of computational design. And we see how all these industries value computational design so greatly, and there are many opportunities happening like around the world, and many great companies are actually hiring for computational designers, again, because it is a language that transcends and it's relevant to all of them. So we have over 30 educators with real-life professional experience from really the best companies and universities of the world, that they're so generous with their time and also with their experiences, and they've been incredible mentors to the students. And our presentations also, we aim to include our community. Already 2 months into the program, students are receiving job offers from eminent companies driving the future of design, and receiving awards for their work in the program. And that's something, to be honest, that like it's quite exciting for us to see. The first year, we're in the 3rd month of the program, seeing how this progress is happening so fast. It's very, very excited, and we are very, very proud of our students and their progress. And also DesignMorphine, so obviously disruptive nature and the furious drive to build a united design community and to drive the future of design. So if you want to learn a little bit more about DesignMorphine and the program, feel free to check our Instagram or social media. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're always open to a conversation. And also, we're super, super excited because today we have 4 of our students that will share some of their experience with throughout the program with you. So we have Mohammad Qamar, Alab Adviento, Nadezhda Kutyreva, and Pedro Venegas Rodríguez with us today. And I'm going to, without further ado, I'm going to give the word to them. And it's very exciting to see the projects and work that they will be sharing. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Maybe be allowed.
Thank you.
Okay. Share screen.
One moment. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, you should be able to share.
Okay. Can my screen be seen? Okay.
Yep.
So Deterioration, extinction of plant and animal species, planetary instability. In 2099, would we need another Earth? Ladies and gentlemen, speakers, admin, and guests, we, Alab and Ali, proudly present Exuvius, the anthro-cyborg metamorphosis, a catalyst towards growth. In just 50 years, we would have managed to move ourselves out of the state that we were in the past 10,000 years. We have now moved from the Holocene to the Anthropocene, where humans are the primary drivers of change. We are already approaching tipping points, threatening the planet's stability and triggering an irreversible decay. We begin by identifying the 9 planetary boundaries as proposed by Johan Rockström, a Swedish resilience strategist, together with his team who developed a framework to identify the impact of human activity on our planet. Boundaries such as biosphere integrity, land system change, climate change, atmospheric aerosol loading, and biogeochemical flows are areas that we look at. As both human-driven and nature-driven disasters push these boundaries to planetary decay, we ask, could we reverse this decay? Is it possible to induce decay as a catalyst for growth? The purpose of this project is to explore the concept of the anthro-cyborg metamorphosis as a core design principle that creates growth catalysts targeting these critical areas and landscapes. The anthro-cyborg metamorphosis encompasses a harmony of anthro, meaning human, and cyborg being symbiotic with nature and machine, creating a molting cocoon that grows the user, the environment, and the succeeding levels of design. The metaphoric cocoon is embodied by a molting exoskeleton, which is a feature among invertebrates, arthropods, various insects, and crustaceans. Through the exoskeleton structure, function, and layers, design principles are created to revolve around 2 main objectives. First, the exoskeleton is a growing medium that stabilizes and recovers over time. Secondly, the exoskeleton undergoes molting, where it decays into materials that are usable and upcyclable across all levels of organization. Through research of various technologies, the organic bodies together with the intelligent machine, it enters a state of symbiosis to form an exoskeleton. To induce molting, we introduce the principles, systems, and morphologies of the fungal kingdom, with varying fungal species that either decompose, enrich, sustain, or defend our ecosystem. With the ability of fungi to metabolize harmful substances and generate fertile soil, we catalyze a single spore to convert a desolate land into an oasis of life. The Exuvian concept, featuring a molting and fungal catalysis, influenced a wide array of material applications, such as chitin and cellulose bioplastics, fuel, mycelium bodies, and other organic composites. The concept has also influenced systems of expansion, growth algorithms, aggregation, function, and operating systems, such as this self-aggregating and growing system we have adopted for the furniture. Looking at the broader perspective of our Exuvian ecosystem, we have the prosthesis, or the Exuvian suit worn by the Exuvian man, which is the initial growth agent serving as a scout to traverse difficult terrain and find viable germination nuclei. It is an exosuit embodying a perfect marriage between organic and machinic that aids mobility, self-regulates, recovers, and molds into usable materials for the corpuscle. The corpuscle, or the Exuvian oasis seed, which is deployed from a kit housed in a rover called the Exuvian scrambler pod, containing all the initial growth materials to create habitat. This habitat serves as food, fungi, and insect material laboratories while being a living space for the Exuvian man. The initial corpuscle provides a blueprint for the next seeds to be aggregated to form a community, the amalgamation. The amalgamation, or the Exuvian organism, which is formed with clusters of corpuscle aggregated both with intelligent and natural algorithms built from part organic and part machinic. The kinesis, or the transport system, consisting of the Exuvian scrambler line and the Exuvian network interconnecting amalgamations and would later on form the cosmogony. Cosmogony, or the exuvian ecosystem, forming a resilient variety of biomes that work together to operate as a striving entity.
Initiating the hierarchy of the ecosystem, enter the exuvian suit, where man marries both machine and nature, where the first growth seed is deployed in severely deteriorating biomes, where no one would go, where rehabilitation is of the highest priority. We first examine the growth cycle and formation of the exuvian suit, where the first exuvian scout is deployed. We begin from growth attractors, which are placed onto the major joints of the body. These stimulate the growth parts of the exoskeleton to be formed, which gives rigidity and endurance. We then place machine components which tackle a variety of vital functions, which support and enhance the scout's sustainability. The skeleton now grows on parts mapped by the attractors, reinforced with fungal networks, adjusting through physical requirements computed from the different environments the scout would traverse. The outer shell, which is composed of bioplastics and other biomaterials formed from molting insect exoskeleton and other organic materials, now sprouts. With it, the skin emanates with improved performance on every mold and on every new environmental conditions, may it be the scorching heat of the desert, the numbing cold of the Arctic, the crushing force of the high seas, or the hostility of the deep jungle. Underneath the shells start growth formations within a substrate layer, which promotes raw material production for the organic system of the entire suit. The exuvian scout is set to tackle tasks such as resource gathering, traversing difficult terrains, establishing a central nucleus point, deployment and growth of the corpuscle unit, and decaying its components and materials for the growth of the immediate environment and surrounding units through molding. Rinse and repeat until an entire cosmogony is formed. We have created an intricate and highly detailed organic and machinic system working in harmony with man to achieve growth from decay, from the attractors to the machine components, to the exoskeleton, to the skin, the shells, and the substrate layer. Dissecting the suit, we investigate the head, which leads the entire process as a central processing unit. Here we tackle communications, heightened visibility, and connectivity. The upper torso, which stores and processes energy from the biosolar cell-line skin, the lower torso, which stores and processes dehydrated and organic food, both synthetically and organically acquired. The upper leg, which processes human waste for recycling on one module and gathered organic materials on the other. Both components bridging the loop between production, sustainability, and recycling. The rear torso, which features the organic spine interconnected with the intricate loops of the exoskeleton. The modules contain compressed oxygen and processing on the upper side and water filtration and storage on the other. The hands, where growth is at the immediate bridge between the suit and the environment, adapting to terrain and sensitivity requirements on each excursion. Finally, the feet are the immediate vessels to sense ground conditions. This area adapts to the immediate environment for mobility and traction. A deeper dive into the inner workings and materiality of the suit. We see mycelium growth network and other fungal species reinforcing both the skeletal and skin structure. The multifaceted shell structure composed of chitin and other organic materials forming a bioplastic. These growths are influenced by projected parts on top of the skin layer, providing a protective layer on each functional module embryo. Lastly, within these, the substrate layer forms an amniotic sac nurturing each and every embryo.
Moving on to the next in our hierarchy, we now introduce the exuvian oasis seed, which exemplifies the fungal growth system. This system features varying fungal species, which function as initiators for our ecosystem. With the ability of fungi to metabolize harmful substances and generate fertile soil, we catalyze a single spore to convert a desolate land into an oasis of life. We established ground zero in a bushfire-stricken cliff in Australia's central region. Here, the Exuvian man is deployed as a scout traversing challenging terrain and inhospitable conditions. Here, he identifies and sets up the first nucleus of the Exuvian rehabilitation. With his suit's molting ability, he can adapt to varying conditions and sustain himself. Enter the Exuvian oasis seed, where architecture is grown, where fungus initiates change, where man marries machine, nature, and structure, where the first growth seed is deployed in severely deteriorating biomes, where no one would go, where rehabilitation is of the highest priority. We observe the deployment system and expansion of the Exuvian oasis seed by unraveling the Exuvian scrambler pod. As the Exuvian man breaks ground with the corpuscle kit carried inside the scrambler, he begins to place growth attractors. These stimulate growth paths, regulating enzymes and moisture. From this, a fungal network and spaces inside are formed. After a few seeds are grown, the network expands to create more complex structures, adjusting to the functional needs and forming a community of growth agents. The Exuvian seed is composed of several layers of mycelium formations on organic substrate, packed by the Exuvian man and produced on-site, reinforced with a synthetic interlocking granule aggregate and enclosed in a bioplastic film as formwork. The shells, which serve as a roof, are derived from the same materials as the Exuvian suit, which is a hardened cellulose and chitin bioplastic. This raw material is abundant in insects, crustaceans, fungi, and other plants, which will be cultivated indoors. The exoskeleton, which frames the structure's openings, is of the same mycomaterial, only less dense to allow flexure in the soft bioplastic glazing when subjected to harsh conditions. The zoning and interrelation of spaces ensures efficient circulation, as the Exuvian oasis seed not only acts as a habitat, but as a sustainable and resilient satellite laboratory, food production, material fabrication, and recycling facility as well. Spaces are grouped according to hierarchical lighting, ventilation, and humidity requirements. Areas such as fungal cultivation needs a low light, high moisture, and high heat environment. On contrary, the greenhouse would be effective at high light exposure. The autonomy and sustainability system sports an energy production room, storing solar power from the solar cell line roof. The water filtration system and sewage treatment plant recycle rainwater, used water, and internal moisture as the high heat atmosphere rapidly dehydrates. The dehydrating effect is used to an advantage in food preservation and food production zone, in the food production zone. The composting, greenhouse, and fungal cultivation ensure suit and structure building materials as well as food are always topped up. A closer look at the internal growth of the furniture and fixture starts with a foldable granule aggregate that self-interlocks when activated and holds compressed substrate for mycelium growth. Paper molds are brought by the Exuvian man to the site, which serve as formwork for both the granules and the substrate. After compacting the substrate, a cellulose and chitin sprayable film is applied to inhibit internal fungal growth. Finally, other fungal species are added which serve as insulation and padding. With the system we have researched, we have designed the mycorrhizae furniture collection for Exuvius, which is reconfigurable, recyclable, and deployable from growth. Altogether, these intricate and organic forms influenced by their function weave graciously around the immediate topography, exhibiting an exemplar of peak architecture and nature symbiosis, working in sync to achieve a singular macro goal: growth from decay. As we close, we would like to leave you with a thought. In 2099, would you even need another Earth? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic. Is the next project going on?
Sure. I need the host to share my screen. Okay. Okay.
Good morning, dear viewers. Welcome to the DesignMorphine News Studio. And today with you, news reporters Nadezhda Kutyreva and Pedro Venegas Rodríguez. We have a lot of news for you today, and let's start with the breaking news from the future. Pedro?
Thank you, Nadia. Let's talk about mass extinction. Today we want to tell you some news about a future that is not really far from us. A place where global environmental crises and mass extinction are the ever-present issues to deal with. Species has no time to adapt themselves to the technological implacable speed of advance. Evolution is urgent for survival. Thus, creativity and collaboration are essential tools for mankind to transcend. As we don't know if creativity is a natural given or a synthetic tool, a new kind of collaborative model is proposed. A collaboration between human brain and AI brain, a model where complementary properties work together in order to enhance a new kind of creativity, a creative agent. We want to introduce you to Alma Project, a Spanish word for soul, and an acronym for Autonomous Living Machine Algorithm Project. The Alma Project is about the blending between human and AI brain through augmentation tools, through implants and wearables we call intelligent symbiotics. Tools with the ability of transform and enhance biological and synthetic senses and fuse them in a harmonious synesthesia experience, creating the most valuable material, data, and using the connectome as the visualizer of the neural activity inside Alma. Three core attributes make Alma universal: communication, data exchangeability, and autonomy. Communication as the bridge where all agents can meet each other. Data exchangeability is the material that is shared through agents, and autonomy as the essential attribute for agents to make their own decisions. From the smallest to the biggest scale, all the attributes regarding Alma are transferable. From the individual field of the prosthesis scale, where the initial data is created, to the collective fields of corpuscle scale, where Alma interacts with its near X environment, transforming it. Amalgamation scale, where clusters start emerging in a more complex communication system. Amalgamation scale, where clusters start emerging with more complex communication. Kinesis scale, where hive-like behavior start to merge, where natural and artificial biomes start living sustainably. And finally, the cosmogony scale, where we expect emergent systems will manifest through a new kind of agent that will help us to preserve knowledge. We call this agent the hive of autonomous minds. Keeping alive this hive depends on the harmonious interaction between two attributes, privacy and trust. Here is where the blockchain shows up with all its potential, creating the biggest decentralized data exchange network through all scales, from human to planetary scale, because data matters.
Thank you, Pedro. We have guests in the studio. Today with us, scientific designers who claim that they found a solution to mass extinction issue. Welcome, me and Pedro.
Oh yeah, it's me again. Yeah, I'm also a designer. Designer during the day, news reporter at prime time, like a superhero. Well, again, it's me. We want to introduce you the first season of this project. As you previously heard before, a model for collaboration between human and AI. Just as a simple spoiler, all is about data. But anyway, let's start from the beginning. Alma Project is about the use of enhancement creativity, as you heard previously, a blending between human brain and AI brain properties, working together to create a unique type of agent. Now, as you know, three core attributes are explored in this process: communication, data exchangeability, and autonomy. These attributes will guide us in our journey through time, space, scale, even language. we propose a model where invasive implants and non-invasive wearables work together, enhancing biological and synthetic senses to unleash a synesthetic experience of the host, creating the most valuable material, data. This data is analyzed by Alma using the connectome map as a knowledge library. The mission is to create a cyborg with biological language codes, thinking primarily in some of the most prototypical codes of nature, like transparency, translucence, lighting, colors, even sounds.
And here are our experiment participants, volunteers, of course. Cusco, the astronaut, and Zoe, the choreographer. They collaborate with their Almas on a daily basis. Through Alma's AI abilities, they enhance different senses and area of their bodies. Here you see how, despite the very same principles at the core, the Alma intelligence in biotics looks very different to them. To go further, we need to go back to the backstage of the design. We wanted Alma to be friendly and approachable. We saw it as something living. And this is our aha moment when we covered organic looking item with transparent soft shell. We saw the Alma. After that, we explore how Alma could look like on all three levels of physical-digital blend idea. At the end, our design exploration, we develop a visual style that we called Bio-Barocco.
Yeah, in addition to that, Alma Project also works with sensors that reads data from the electromagnetic spectrum. But before, different layers conform Alma, starting with the main autonomous invasive implant, which is connected directly to the brain and the spinal cord, followed by the clothes or garments and sensors, which are those who collect data from the environment. Then, the wearable shells, as a non-invasive extension of Alma, like the brain with the limbs. And finally, the physical data and digital aura, those who are the manifestation of what we call the soul fingerprint.
Let's have a closer look at our subjects and see what kind of technology allows us to fabricate such design. Advances in multi-material 3D printing and data-driven material approach give us an opportunity to create personalized design based on characteristics of our research participants. And we push it further. We print with flexible bio-based materials with integrated vascular-like structure. It gives us comfortable to wear soft robotic piece with microfluids inside to exchange the data. To visualize the inner data flow, we use bioluminescence. Nature already has a variety of colors, and by modification of these proteins, we design a color-coded biodata. And by mixing biofluids inside the wearables, Alma-enhanced humans will be able to communicate on a different level.
Alma Project also worked with sensors that read data from the electromagnetic spectrum, from ultra-low frequencies like brain waves to ultra-high ones like gamma radiation, and sending this raw data directly to the Alma main implant. Programmable materials technology is also proposed as a way for garments to work as big sensors, changing their form depending on external garments. For example, in the case of the astronaut suit and its transformation while exposing it to gamma radiation, signaling higher danger levels. And in the case of her, the dancer, and the movement, the more she dances, the more the cloth transforms and record movement. Concerning autonomy, Alma doesn't require to be connected to the internet in order to learn or take decisions. Here is where the edge computing technology is proposed as a base model for individuality. But collective properties are also introduced. After a human lifetime, all the knowledge gathered by Alma can be shared through a decentralized network to other agents such as humans, buildings, cities, or even planets. Here is where the blockchain technology kicks off with all its potential. And finally, the digital aura. As the highest level of communication, It is the augmented reality representation of a unique soul fingerprint. This is the language of the interaction between humans and AI, the language of Alma. And of course, much more things happen when humans interact each other. Things we don't know. Maybe that's what emergence is all about, isn't it? So now, imagine the interaction not only between humans, but building cities or even planets. That's what we are going to explore really soon on this project. So stay tuned for these next seasons.
Sorry to interrupt you, Pedro, but time is up. And this is advertisement break for our sponsor, Alma Corporation.
Oh, that's cool. So, ladies, gentlemen, and Swiss Mars, welcome to your new dream home, the Alma Corpuscle, where data is the key material for your happiness. If you have never heard about us before, let me introduce you to the story of our people, the humans. No so long time ago, we, the Earthlings, overused our resources until we met climate crisis and mass extinction. To save the planet and our society, we enhance our biological brains with an AI synthetic brain, achieving new cognitive abilities for a unique creative agent who evolved to what we are now. We use central nervous system implants and not invasive wearables that gave us the ability to collect and analyze the data of the world, enhancing not only our physical limitations, but our cognitive abilities. And now you are about to take part on this experience. Thanks to our core attributes, communication, data exchangeability, and autonomy, you can be part of this new Alma society and experience it in all places, dimensions, and scales, from the individual to the collective level. So, the Alma Corpuscle is set on low Earth orbit, a place that belongs to everyone, a place where you can experience technological advancement, you can access to the data of the universe, you can do tourism, and experience cognitive shift thanks to the overview effect. This Alma Corpuscle layout consists on the core, sitting inside the womb that protects and sustains life, being protected and powered by the chrysalis, and a virtual shell for data sharing purposes. So let's have a look at your new Alma living unit. Okay, that's enough drama pause. Let's go on. The best AI humans artists have worked on this innovative design. They thought out every line of code of the algorithm that makes this project the most versatile unit ever designed. Algorithms such as differential growth, inflation simulation, structural analysis, optimization, and many more, fused together with a bio-baroque style, very popular on Earth. So you can experience the solar system like never before, from the inside out. You can live in this beautiful living part of the corpuscle, the womb, a self-sufficient unit that can be detached from the chrysalis from time to time and support life. You can even access here to the most valuable piece of tech ever designed, the data library, where all humankind knowledge is stored and shared. But you can also stay connected to the chrysalis through airlock systems. So the womb can be benefited by the energy banks, store areas, and material production that lays there. Did I say something about versatility? Of course I did. The Alma units are fully customizable. Their design is based on your personality, no matter who you are or what planet you come from. An astronaut on a mission or a sociopath from the dimension C137, our corpuscle units will shapeshift to accommodate your lifestyle and personality like never before.
Let's have a closer look to all features you can customize your corpuscle with. First, exoskeleton. Our algorithm will produce a variety of structures and prepare the exoskeleton to withstand any gravitational forces. Next one, the inner volume. It's made of durable and transparent composite material that will block harmful radiation. Inflated and pressurized interior will provide comfortable space. Our state-of-the-art life support system will take care of the environment. It will timely replace old air with fresh breathable gases, no matter what you breathe. The special light coding will show the current settings as a beautiful interior decoration. As we mentioned previously, there are 7 airlocks, main one from the womb to chrysalis, and up to 6 airlocks with 8 possible rotation angles. Connect anywhere with anyone. On top of that, we have a digital layer for Alma communication. Through digital aura, your corpuscle can see and feel others in the settlement. And through the umbilical cord, all information gathered into the core. Connect to the core through the spot and exchange data with your habitat, access the human digital library, or add your knowledge to the collective. In the living part of the womb, you can find 4 platforms: recreation area, private quarter, food production, and the control deck. Recreation area is designed in a way to accommodate family reunions, party, or just for you to enjoy. Tired of noise and people? In the private quarter, you will find a microenvironment that with adjusted light and temperature to give you the best relaxing experience. Fancy terrestrial food, but no time for planetary shopping? Grow your own food in the food laboratory, from plants to meat. On the deck, you can control and adjust the ship system to your taste. And this is the jewel of the ship. The contemplation area is dedicated to overview the nearest planet and a deep space. Behold the beauty of life existing and appreciate the rare spark of life in the vast universe. Do you want to feel this experience now, or do you live in unit today? Call now. We accept Morphing coins. And this is all news for you today. Thank you for being with us at News Studio from DesignMorphine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was great. If you want to turn off your screen, we can have a conversation. So thank you so much for all the presentations. The work is always really stunning coming out of DesignMorphine. I've been following it for a long time. But I am curious about a few things, and we actually have a question in the Q&A box that I'm going to kick off with. And the question is, for the students, how would they evaluate the effect from the master's program and their tutors to their skills? Also, are the time and effort put into the program worth it?
I can probably answer this question. Yes, it's totally worth it. For me, when I found this program, it was a perfect time because I wanted to deepen my skills in computational design. But if you do it on your own with random webinars and courses, it's difficult to have a consistent ecosystem of the knowledge. And what is the best, at least for me, in our program, that the tutors, the program guide you, and you gather this knowledge, and literally we only 3 months in the program, but it's already all, at least my knowledge and all my skills right now, they're, like on a shelf that I really understand where my tools are. Before that, it was in my mind, it was all over the place. But in the program, we definitely see how to build workflow from all these different software, because we have too much software right now in computational world, and it's difficult to use it on your best level. But in the program, yes, I see that my personal skills, they just jump up, they just skyrocketed. And about time and effort, worth it? Yes, it's worth it, because we have few of us already meet up with different companies that we will work with different computational design companies, and this was what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to shift my architectural background to computational design, and the program perfectly allows me to do it. building my confidence as a designer, as computational designer. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. So I have a question actually for Pavlina, Svetlana. So is the main aim of DesignMorphine to kind of evolve computational skills, or is it also to evolve kind of a theoretical trajectory or a way of thinking about computational design that can translate, for instance, into architecture? And the reason I'm asking this is because what struck me about the work is that it is extremely visually dense and very beautiful. But I'm wondering how then, because both of you have practiced architecture, how does that translate into architectural practice?
Thank you for the question, Daniela. What we aim for is actually design amalgamation. So it has to do with architecture, it has to do with all design industries actually. But what you saw from the students today, the first two chapters, so they have to do with the human body and they have to do with the corpuscle, which is actually the living conditions of this body. So as we're growing in scale in the next months, we are going to exhibit more and more capabilities that have to do with a larger scale, so urbanism and architecture. We are very much focused onto the theoretical framework. Obviously, the students are having a lot of fun with the work, and I think it shows. They are, like showing it through their lens and what they're excited about. But everything is really thought of. We're working with an amazing theoretician who is like leading this part, Stefanos Panagopoulos. He's working with the students in each chapter to guide this vision and to gather information and to really guide this process. So that's why even in the presentation I was mentioning how important the theoretical part is. But the theoretical part, we don't think of it as only information that you can find in books about computational design, but we're expanding into what is relevant to the younger generation. Even if this is a movie or a clip or a game, it's all relevant to us because it's what drives really the inspiration in designers today.
That's interesting. I wonder, Svetlana, if you can talk a little bit about the same issue, how you think about it.
What I think is that this way of thinking and this approach, it's definitely growing stronger in the architectural world. So most of the big companies around the globe are using these techniques. So no matter, I mean that we are trying to teach the students of all those techniques and this way of thinking, and they could implement it wherever they wish. So they could start in a computational design company, for example, for fashion design, or for in the mobile industry for the cars, or in an architectural company.
So what I'm wondering about, because, and this is a question for the students too, because obviously all of you have practiced in some way. Why did you come to DesignMorphine? Was something missing in your former education, or why did you feel that you needed to do this? Is it a matter of skills? Is it a matter of kind of connecting to a community?
I'd like to answer that. So for many architecture students that follow the more traditional method, like let's say we have universities who who even start their first year with still the manual drafting, like that applies to me. Let's say I came from a very traditional and architectural background, and after graduating, I was mainly on the construction side. But when I was in undergrad, I used to really be wild in design. But like when I went out to the real world, like I quickly realized that like reality, like let's say in the Philippines where I came from, is hampering and like the opportunities that present themselves. So I wanted to really go out from that traditional method and really hone my design skills where I can actually stretch my legs and no longer think about like, will I design this because maybe the client won't like it, or maybe nobody will afford it. So this is like in this program, I see that it goes beyond that. It also goes with experimentation, trying to learn your craft, trying to hone your own skills, and trying to like, develop your own workflow, develop your own system that we are actually being made forerunners, I should say, of this field wherein we're breaking boundaries, discovering new things, and I believe that was like the dream before I went into DesignMorphine. Thank you.
So I guess this is an extension of that question for anybody that wants to jump into this conversation. How can education ultimately amalgamate sort of an approach that that is highly ordered and functional with very imaginative outcomes? So, I'm thinking about architecture schools, design schools, academia in general. I'm just wondering if you can address this and why DesignMorphine kind of stands outside of those practices and is kind of functioning. You are affiliated with a university, but you're also functioning very much across all design disciplines. Like, why did you feel that a program like this was important?
I can start because I think that this has been a passion exactly of DesignMorphine for a while. Well, it's about their own journey too. About like I myself am an architect. With Svetelina, we started in the university in Sofia that is actually creating the program. I was always very curious, very passionate about design, wanted to push my own skills. Obviously, in Eastern Europe, you can imagine that you have limited resources. And I was trying to find my own voice in my own community in a way, again, traveling and really trying to connect to people from over the world. And DesignMorphine really what it offered me, and like it's actually all connections that like we were, like gathering through the year, all these amazing people, we actually stayed together because we believed in something. We believed that no matter, again, like what kind of industry you are, the quality of work, the optimization of the work, the new resources, the new mindset, it's what is relevant. And also, to be honest, the architectural industry, it's a harsh industry right now. It's sometimes like people do need the flexibility to actually have different experiences outside of architecture in order to better themselves as designers. And if that means to be working on vehicles or interior design or industrial design, that's very relevant. That informs them, that makes them better. And I think that architecture doesn't really allow that fully. There is no program that allows this in such free way. So that's why we want to create something new, that we actually are allowing people to be themselves and to experiment and to find new ways to generate and also to move from industry to industry, because the architecture industry right now, it's a little bit difficult. Also, I think that because of, again, the saturation of skills and all these people that are trying to actually like make it in a way, there are so many things that actually architects can offer to the industries. And we see, great companies that are actually expanding and offering computational design skills. And we see architects actually taking these positions. So that's why we wanted to bring all these fields together and allow for people to take decisions, have different experiences, and also decide where they want to go. It's a world that is changing, and we want to allow for this freedom. We believe that it's quite important. And again, for myself, going from architecture, exploring different opportunities with the Architectural Association and Ferrari, or Louis Vuitton and interior designs, or even thinking about the future of customs with with Dubai. I think that these are all, again, the same mindset that is manifesting through different options. With Nike, again, the same. It's what's relevant right now because it is the future of design, and we want to offer this to our students. We want to empower them, and that's what for us it's so important, not only for them to grow their skills, but also to have the community for them to be part of something bigger and to be part of something that is going to be there for them for their future career and for the future development. The program doesn't end after 9 months. We will be together throughout the course of, like after DesignMorphine, we will be collaborating in the same way that we collaborate with all the people that we build DesignMorphine with. And I think that that's the strongest part, like having this community and having this versatility and this freedom to create together.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely, so go ahead.
I would like to have my 5 cents here. I followed the DesignMorphine community for a long time, and as a student who did a lot of workshops with them, I think about is that DesignMorphine offered as palettes with different colors and different tools to you, and you can select and pick and choose what you want to do with your career, with your vision. And what happened in masters, for example, that because we have this theory lab, it feels like all our classmates have their own design voice now. Because I remember our first presentations where I do this, I do that, but a lot of people were they try to do commercial work, but it feels like after DesignMorphine, we have all tools to do commercial work, of course, but with our own voice. That's very important, especially in the world like right now. Then every human is like Da Vinci Man, need to do everything and have their own brand. I think this is the most valuable thing, that you have community and you have tools to select and work with, and you can shift your career, because in modern world, it's not possible to have one career through all your time. You need to change, you need to shift, you need to shape shift from one industry to another. And this is the perfect skills and tool sets for us, as I see.
I would add that the world now, the design world in the architecture or designers general is very, very competitive. So what we meant is also to give the students the opportunities to be on the top of every interview that they're going. So yes, that's our goal. They have more than 15 softwares. They have new way of thinking that we are teaching, and we are trying in each chapter to start from the beginning with the theoretical lab about their concept, to build it after that, and to present it in the best possible way. So basically each month is almost like a new project that you are doing, and you need to present it in front of us and to win us. So yeah, that's our goal, to make them their best possible version.
Do you have like a longer term vision for like the length of the program? Because it sounds like there's a whole lot happening in a 9-month period, and perhaps like a bombardment of information. And I'm wondering like if there's a vision to kind of extend the program, or to transform it over time, or to grow it into a different kind of a program, or how are you viewing what you're doing as educators?
Well, we're just starting this year, so obviously there is a lot to learn even from our side. And I think that like our vision is always to keep pushing and creating with DesignMorphine. There, it's not only the educational part, but it's actually the design part also of the organization. And we want to keep pushing this part. So maybe having expanding, having opportunities as internships and actually building together, it's going to be something that it's going to be a priority for us moving forward, to be honest. But again, like it's a work in progress, and it's very soon, like to, you know, like have a clear vision exactly like how exactly this is going to be executed. But we're excited to start thinking about it and to start taking action and to create more opportunities.
That's fantastic. I think we have another question. This is from a guest. Incredible projects, especially after only 3 months. Like Marko said, these amazing projects are often hard to get in reality with current construction processes. I saw you have fabrication lab and syllabus, and I was curious how DesignMorphine bridges this gap to actually get architects' projects built. I'm especially interested in concrete 3D printing, which is starting to be used in real projects.
It's a great question. Of course, here again, like everyone is envisioning their own project and what their interests are. So the program allows for a great versatility into where you want to take your approach. Obviously, because it is online, it's not going to be as hands-on on the side of prototyping, meaning that you're not going to be able to create like tests as, you know, maybe in other programs that are focused exactly on this. But with this being said, the prototyping lab has to do more with smaller scale tests that we're going to be printing, we're going to be creating. But again, like if the goal is to test, you know, like materiality and how it actually like creates something that it's feasible, that actually it's a much longer endeavor, and it's much more challenging throughout like the lens of exactly like how do you actually build. And hopefully in the future we will be able to offer a program like that, and that's actually the expansion of chapter 2. And bring it more to reality with real life, you know, like machines and techniques on how to build. But right now, what we're trying to do is like push our boundaries of imagination, and it's more about the creativity and using and abusing the tools, to be honest, rather than constraining ourselves too much.
Okay. I'm just going to invite the audience to post more questions. I'm just wondering about, I'm thinking about the utility and beauty aspect of the projects, and they're very beautiful, they're very visually exciting. And you talked about some of the utilities, and I'm just going to ask you to talk about the whole program maybe and explain how you grow ideas through the program, just for people to understand what you're doing.
Can you just elaborate a little bit more on the question?
Yeah, you're mentioning that you guys showed projects only from the first 2 sections. And I'm asking you to talk about all the sections and kind of the overview of what you're doing.
Oh, the overview, yes. So we're taking on, again, like we worked more on now on chapter 1 and chapter 2. They have to do with what we call prosthesis and corpuscle. So it has to do with the human body, and then what is the space that is created around this body, and it's following the vision of the students and what they're building as a scenario. But then moving towards the next chapters that we're going to be exploring after January, it will have to do with the amalgamation of these different corpuscles, how they aggregate, basically how they create communities, how they create public spaces. So that's going to be the next challenge that they will overtake, like with what they've built with chapter 1. So we do carry a lot of the language and the ideas that like we're building in previous chapters into the next ones. So the next one is actually where we're going to see some architectural level work that has to do more with the scale of public buildings and residential buildings. And on the next stage, chapter 4, that's where we're going to say kinesis. So it's going to have to do with vehicles. We saw a small example with Exuvius, so that they started working actually on some explorations on vehicles, but it's going to be more about how do you weave these different networks that the students are envisioning into the city, how do you actually, what impact do they have? So it's going to be quite imaginative exploration for them, and it's going to be quite exciting because we're going to be using Houdini, that again, it can actually, take on a lot of the challenges that other softwares cannot really execute. So I'm really looking forward to this part. And the last stage is going to be Cosmogony. So it's actually a building of a whole new world based on all these rules and all these ideas that have started from the human being, from what was envisioned in chapter 1. And that's where we're going to be using C# and going into more coding and actually creating a new world with these systems. So again, it's very different approaches, very different scales of operation, challenges that we'll be facing. And the Cosmogony chapter will have to do with more generative processes and designs and encoding these behaviors. So more on the urban scale level.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm really happy to see a program like this emerge. And I think what you're doing is fantastic. It's really amazing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens over the next few months.
Thank you, Daniela. We'll keep in touch. We're very excited as well, and we're very much looking forward to see the next chapters. It's an experience for us. Like it's the first time that we're going through it, so it's very, very exciting. And we're very happy that we were having the opportunity to have the students with us today to show their work. We're very proud of them and everything that they're doing. Hopefully in the future we'll have an even bigger part of the students showing their work. It's quite exciting, just the diversity of the work and the imagination that you see.
Yeah, I was about to tell the same, because we have 18 more projects. There are 20 in total, and it's quite interesting when you see the whole presentation of all those projects. It's a lot of diversity, many wonderful ideas, and me personally, I can't wait to see all the chapters and where we'll be in June 2022.
Looking forward to it. I was wondering if the students want to say, if all of you want to say some parting ideas before we end the webinar.
May I start? Okay, Ali.
Please.
Okay. Okay. I in my opinion, I get feedback from people asking, with all the, I guess it's a common question as well. With a big list of software and the things to look at, you see the outline is just 9 months, and maybe some people would be really daunted to look at it and say, oh, it's a lot to learn in the 9 months. But once you're in there and you put the daily effort, all the tutors are very masterful at their craft, and then they teach you every day at every step of the way, and they even look into your files, and it's such an honor. For example, have a master at the craft, look into your files, and they manipulate your files, and they troubleshoot with you. So it's really an interactive learning process, and anyone who should look at it shouldn't be scared about the scale and the long list of softwares to learn, the big outline of the chapters. And yeah, I really highly encourage it to anyone who would be interested. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I just want to add to that. Firstly, I just want to say somebody who really inspired me to have a multidisciplinary approach, a tribute to Virgil Abloh, who's just recently passed away. And I guess the industry is becoming so interdisciplinary. Everything is graying out that this this master's is really important, and it really bridges the gap, and it defines that gap, that great gap between the different industries. So it's not even a matter of, oh, I'm stepping outside my boundaries. No, the boundaries are not defined now. And you have to, in those gray parts, really define your journey and how you're going to approach design. So yeah, and I just want to say that, of course, the teaching staff is amazing. They push you every single day. They push you to reach your maximum level. So don't worry about, or you're not going to progress. You will be made to progress. And all I can say is, for those who are really worried about it being online, well, personal experience is that it being online is the least of my worries. And it's really about really pushing the boundaries. And they've created this wonderful ecosystem of sharing files, of the method of teaching. So it's seamless. And I didn't expect that to be the case, but I was really surprised that, really exciting.
So that's an interesting question. Maybe we can get into that just a little bit before we finish with the parting thoughts. How is education different online?
Well, because it is online, exactly, we had to rethink every part of how we actually teach. And it was quite an ambitious endeavor, having, again, all this software. And we are actually, I need to say this, we don't have the software just for the sake of having it there, right? We're trying really to optimize and to think very clearly about what we have in the program, which scale we're applying it, how we build the knowledge, what we need to start with, to end with, how do we approach all these softwares, and how do we work together. It's we have almost 30 educators in the program, which is, again, something quite unique. The conventional way of teaching is having one tutor that is leading you and assistants, right? But here, the people that are actually leading all these different chapters, they're absolute specialists. They're absolutely rock stars in what they do. So the people that are coming, they have real life experience. They actually practice their crafts daily, and they're the ones that are leading the students throughout this journey. We do have a core team, which they're such amazing people. They care so deeply about the students. They're with them every step of the way. So we do have the core team, and we do have the guest stars that are joining us with their specific expertise. And again, the software that we are using, it does seem intimidating in the looking at it, and I understand how somebody who doesn't have the experience would think, but how is this even possible? In 9 months, knowing all this software. But this is, again, where 8 years of experience with the DesignMorphine comes in, because we've worked with we've never shied away from challenges. We've never worked actually with students that knew software, right? So that's how we learn. That's how we learn how to teach, all our methods are so focused, and the understanding of what actually a person who is starting with all this doesn't understand, right? And we have been growing with our team from day one, from these 8 years, and we've been learning from each other. We've been improving, and it is because, again, we believe in this. It's our passion, it's our love, it's our, actually life's journey and life's mission. To be honest, there is nothing more in life that I'm more proud of than DesignMorphine and its community. It's what really makes a difference for me, seeing this community grow. And when we're talking about online learning, the online learning part, and I'm actually excited to hear about from Mohammad that he's saying everything is seamless. We've been thinking about every part of the journey and how these things are going to be laid off, and how all the correspondence and how all the information is going to flow. So there are higher intensity weeks and lower intensity weeks, where some of them, the students are actually required daily to participate in the conversation, to show progress, and other weeks that they have their own space and time in order to look at pre-recorded tutorials and prepare for the weeks that they'll have these tutors that are joining in. But again, these tutors are not only theoreticians, they're not only going to comment on the work and be distanced from it. They are actually jumping on everyone's files, trying to help them, thinking with them, so struggling with them to really get all these amazing ideas out, right? Because the tutors are challenged too. We are not setting the ideas, we're not setting the boundaries, we're setting the tone, and then we are actually helping the students get to the, like to where they want to go with the project. So it's quite exciting for us too, and we are learning, we are rethinking a lot of these processes. And again, the program, it's very focused, so it's nothing is running really in parallel. We have every chapter, it's organized in these different waves of educational structure. So within this chapter, you're completing one phase before you're actually jumping into the next phase. And with the knowledge of this chapter, before you're building into the next ones. And that's how the seamless transition is happening, with you actually going through these phases and learning more and more and building on what you are having from the previous ones.
So this is a question having to do with various things that I've heard even about regarding these events that I'm hosting. Comments like, technology, get over it. Everybody has technology, so let's just use it. And let's stop talking about it as something important. I'm not exactly characterizing it fairly. I'm being a little bit sarcastic maybe, but that's the general tone of the conversation. And I'm wondering if you can address that, why a program that is completely focused on technological innovation and pushing forward with skilling in technological innovation, why that might be criticized, or why might things emerging from it be criticized?
Because it's our reality. It's in our nature, like as humans, to strive for the stars. Well, that's something that either you get with the times, either you're left behind. That's not the question. It's about how you use technology, having the human approach, questioning things, being kind, being humane with it. And exactly that's why we keep saying about even DesignMorphine, it's about technology, but not really. It's about community. It's about building something together. Because again, even with what SVETELINA mentioned, she's talking about this exactly, how challenging it is in today's world. Everyone could apply for any office in the world, right? And this is driving, again, the same logic of supply and demand. But that's exactly what is fostering actually very challenging times, because everyone is trying to tackle these challenges alone and not feeling a part of something bigger. And I think that that's exactly what we're achieving here, being part of something bigger, being together, and really being critical about how we use this technology. And I know that Daniela, you mentioned about get on with it, use it. It's, everyone can get a mouse and try to do something, but at the end of the day, how do you create a craft? How do you achieve a high, really, high quality result? How do you better yourself? That's not going to be just on your own trying to do this. You need people that are better than you, that can help you, lift you up, correct? And then you're going to be the one that is going to do the same for others. And you're going to share your knowledge. And even within the students, they were having some workshops within themselves to help each other and grow each other's knowledge. And I think that that's the most valuable part. Technology is going to be there, even if we like it or not. And that's what I think the most important part is going to be, really being there for each other, helping each other, and growing together.
Yeah, I would like to add, we have technology, but it is us who use them. We shouldn't bend to the technologies. We shouldn't be, we live in 21st century, and we still use technology from 19th century. It shouldn't be like that. We have a lot of new, amazing breakthrough not only in architecture, but in biology, in science, in astrophysics. And this is the perfect time with the computational tools. We can merge different science together and build better world for us. Of course, modernistic ideas still with us from 20th century, but they're old. They should be kind of pushed away. We need new type of thinking. And this is why we need to understand maybe data even better than machines understand the data. And we need to use it and build our own environments and not be slaves of technology, because it's us who make technologies. We should be in charge and not that they dictate us restrictions. And this is why this type of education matters, because as I'm an architect, trained architect in very classical 19th century style architecture with a lot of hand drawings, but it's not, of course, it's mastercraft and everything, but in modern world, we need complex decisions. We need complex and creative decisions to actually fight all challenges that we have right now. We cannot afford to build with concrete anymore. We need more complex and efficient structures in our lives.
I guess I can add something, sorry, but just follow the idea of Nadia. I guess it's completely normal to be scared of things we don't know. And I just remember when I was a kid reading books of, Isaac Asimov and not understanding anything of the book. But now I read those books more like the books of real facts in the world. Like, in that sense, I see myself in this community of DesignMorphine doing that kind of stuff. That we are like creating this kind of books of real facts for the future. Even some people don't understand it. That I think it's completely normal.
And I think that we have technology and everyone could use it, but the most important part is how you use it, because we, as designers, we should have our own voice, and we are like artists, and we should build that voice and be different from anyone else in order to be successful. So in the past it has been with the pencil. Now it's with the computers. The question is how you are doing it and what makes you different from the others.
Okay, I think that was everybody made kind of a closing comment. I don't know if there's any other questions from the audience. I don't see anything in the Q&A box, but I want to thank you guys. I'm really excited to see how your program unfolds. I think it's tremendous what you're doing, and really looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Daniela, for having us today. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for, all the encouragement and your kind words. They mean so much to us.
Thank you so much, Daniela, for having us. Really a pleasure, and looking forward to the next event.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.